How you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I am a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California, and I'm really just an average guy who loves to make music. However, when I get behind a microphone, I become the strong writer on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. And the way I love to do that is through faith and hope and encouragement, by taking in the stories and experiences told to me by my wonderful guests, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. All right, so let's get rolling here. I want to welcome you to another beautiful day for a fantastic show. Thanks for listening to me on iHeartRadio. Power me up, talk and music 24/7, the station with heart on iHeart. And it's always a great day whenever I can talk to this man. He's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame drummer, most famous for his founding membership in Creedence Clearwater Revival. It's the mighty Doug Cosmo Clifford. Now, over the past summer, Doug has uncovered and revived another musical treasure from his magic vault, and this time it's called California Gold, and it's with the great Bobby Whitlock. He collaborated with him. That was just released September 2022. Let's get to the point. It's an honor to welcome my friend, my special guest, Doug Clifford.
Hey, Dean.
It's awesome to get to talk to you 3 times. That means we can call ourselves, I can call you my friend now. I hope that's okay.
Of course.
Yeah. You're up in Lake Tahoe, Reno, something like that? You're in that area in Nevada?
That's correct.
Yeah. How long have you lived up there? I know you were, you're a California kid, born and raised out there, right? But you moved to that area some time ago. Yeah.
1980.
That's where you had like a studio set up in your house there, and you recorded a lot of these great things that you're starting to uncover now. So
Some of them, that's for sure. And it's very handy to have a multi-track machine and a really good board. And I had both and put them to task.
Yeah. So you're known for being a drummer, a musician primarily, but you like to play with the multi-track and try to engineer your own stuff and things like that?
Well, I don't like it, the engineering part of it. I always have a qualified engineer.
Somebody that has the patience for it,
Well, yeah, a little of that and a little of I just never got around to it because I was surrounded by really good people all my career, really, whether they be musicians or technical people. One of the things I would tell somebody that's aspiring to have a career in this business, get good people around you and supportive people. Good.
And you seem to do that, right? You it took a while, but once you find them, you stick with them, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do in this business too, because people are traveling all the time, especially if they're a band like Creedence Clearwater Revisited with Stu Cook.
Right.
And I had that band for 25 years. And,
excellent. A lot more than the original, right?
a lot more than the original, that's for sure.
I'm glad you brought up Stu. Are you still in touch with the guy? I mean, he's you were friends for a long time there.
Oh yeah. He's my bud. I'm concerned about him. He's in Florida, so all hell's breaking loose down there.
Oh, you're talking about with the weather? Yeah, the hurricane? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to call me. More than likely, I won't be able to call him, and probably he won't be able to call me from the looks of it. Power poles and wires on the ground and all of that. Yeah. So I'll wait to hear from him and. He's a big boy. He'll be okay. But I am thinking about him out there.
When did he go out there? Has he been a long time in Florida?
Well, not as long as. Well, he was in Texas after a stint in L.A. And then to Florida, and then Roatan. He's got a place down in Roatan in the tropics, and he likes to scuba dive and try to play golf.
There you go. So if you find a place out there, it doesn't matter how the weather gets. People don't seem to want to leave that area. They love it out there. So they take the good and the bad. So I understand. I love Florida. I probably will never leave this state, but that's a nice place to go when it's good weather, you know.
That is true.
Well, listen, let me get to the point. Since you created this is the third time you pulled something out of this. I call it your vault, but
yeah, that's what it is.
You actually do have an actual physical vault that you store these things in. Is that right? Your old tapes and such.
Well, it's cabinets, you know, nice cabinets on a concrete floor in a corner of the garage, away from the heat of the sun. Yeah. So they've survived because I've taken the care that is necessary for audio tape to spend a long time in storage.
Yeah, climate control. You probably don't need to climate control. You just keep it in a good, safe, cool place, and then if so, you have to probably bake the tape if it's not. You know how that is. Sometimes these they're not ready to go right out of the box. You know.
That is true.
Yeah. So you had Magic Window. We talked about that, and that was kind of cool with the with a little bit of that, you know, those Simmons drums and all that other, you know, sort of that you're experimenting a little bit with that '80s feel back then, and
that was an '80s feel for sure.
Yeah, and then we talked about your other one with Wright. You had the Clifford Wright project there.
Correct.
Sorry we lost these guys, but you know this new one that you have out here with Bobby Whitlock, he's still around. So have you? Did you get together with him, call him up, or say, hey, look what I found. We got to bring this back to life and show it off.
Yeah, I did, and he was very happy. He didn't have a music project going on right now, and so he remembered the sessions, and very, very happy. And of course, I sent him a copy of it, and he said, "Man," he says, "we wrote those songs." I said, "Yeah, we wrote them, we played them, we vaulted them." So,
you when you say you wrote them, are you talking about the music and lyrics together, doing this kind of thing? Did you come up with the whole concept and just good old time rock and roll stuff?
Yeah, the two of us wrote all the stuff, and most of the lyrics were my job, and then of course the grooves, that was my job, and Bobby would come up with nice chord changes and melodies, and that's how we did it. And I like to co-write because whoever you're working with has something you don't have, and you have something that they don't have, and then you just leave the gates open, and don't make it too tight. Leave room for inspiration and creation.
Yeah, it's kind of magical how that happens when you get two really forces together. You know,
it is magic.
Yeah, almost like epoxy. You know, binary. You put the two together, it actually forms a strong bond. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was trying my best for an analogy in there, but what it comes down to is it's just some great music. Now we have to, for those who are not really familiar with Bobby Whitlock, you know, he's got a great voice. I had no idea. This is the guy from Derek and the Dominos. He played the keyboards on the album, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Plus he was, I'm trying to think, he was with a lot of bands, right? He played with a lot of people.
Yeah, he did. He was the only or first white artist signed to Stax Records.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know, that's where he comes from, and he's been around some of my very favorite artists ever.
This is cool. Yeah, and he plays that mean Hammond organ there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that signature action that he has in the keys there when he's playing. So when you mentioned Stax, I hate to spoil the surprise, but you had another big name guy. You had Donald Duck Dunn over there playing on the bass on some of that.
It was Duck who, and God, I miss him. He was such a great guy and a funny guy and a brilliant bass player. But I was, I think it was at his house, and I told him that I was ready to put a band together because I had done all these projects that are in the vault, and I guess I'm anxious to get a band together. And I said, you know any singers out there that are worth their salt? He said, yeah, Bobby Whitlock's out there. Awesome. I said, oh yeah. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, do you think you'd want to play with me? He says, I know he'd want to play with you. So Bobby came up to my house in the Bay Area, and we chatted a bit, and the next thing you know, we're writing songs right there on my living room table, and it was just very easy, and the ideas came and were developed instantly, and so I said, you know, we better record this stuff or we'll forget it. And that's one of the things that happens to people writing songs. If you don't get you can write things on a piece of paper and even write the chords down there, but there's nothing like having, the real thing and be able to play it as music.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. So then we had a fellow, Michael O'Neill, play the guitar on some of the sessions, and then David Vega from Graham Central Station was another guitarist that we had, and did several sessions. Some of them cut it at Cosmo's factory, and then others different studios around the Bay Area as we kept developing material. And then it was when Doug got the job as a blues brother. He was gone, and that sort of changed things. And it just somebody else said, "Geez, I got something offered to me. I just have to take." So that being said, give me the action. I'm putting it in the vault.
Right. Each one of these things that you pulled out, they all have a different little personality, especially because, it's obvious because you're working with different people, but it's always got that through line. It's got you on that powerful set of drums there. So do you remember what drums you were playing on the session there? In this one?
I was playing my Camcos.
Okay.
They were bought out by DW. In fact, some of the hardware, the lug nuts are the ones that the original company created. They're the ones that DW uses to this day. So I had my trusty. I'd made a few hit records with that drum set. So
DW, you could recreate that famous drum kit if you wanted to, but with their parts. Yeah.
Yeah, I choose my microphones carefully.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal when you try to record a record. You got to have them mic'd just properly and use the right ones.
U87s and SM56s. A lot of those, and where they were put was critical, and just producing records that ultimately are coming out. I never thought that would be the case, but it is, and I'm really excited about this one because one of the things I did with Bobby is I said, you're going to have to quit smoking cigarettes, buddy. It's going to make a world of difference in your stamina and your tone, but you're going to have to do that. So I got him to quit smoking cigarettes, and then 2 weeks after I did that, I got him on a running program to add to the fuel of getting that old crap out and give him something to stay in shape. We were rehearsing, 4 or 5 hours a day, and you need, and that's every day, and so you need to be in shape. I've always worked out, and even to this day, my health is waning a little bit, but if I didn't do something, it would be waning a lot faster. So anyway, so I got him battle ready, and when that happens, you have that power and you have control of it, and you know, it's very inspiring for the guy that's doing the singing. And you know, everybody was inspired on all these tapes. We inspired each other, a good group of guys.
Cool. What year did you record all this?
78.
78.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is going far back than I thought. I was getting used to this 80s everything like that. Yeah, that has a great now that puts it more into perspective for me, because it has a good old time feel, and that was pretty much a good sound to have back in 78, I think.
Yeah, well, that was coming right off the Creedence thing. You know, the Creedence was just a few years back.
Yeah.
And then I got to do things that the Creedence did that I didn't particularly care for that much, and so I had control of it. And there's going to be a certain amount of carrying that, just the way I play and you know, the gear that I use. But it's and also my drumming on this record. I'm playing a lot more parts because of the guys I was playing with. We played you know, Creedence was 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and some of these songs were 6 minutes, and we got to stretch out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you got a guy like Doug Dunn in there. You come up with things to you know, that work with what he's playing. And it's just great, you know. It's just a drummer's dream to have a guy like that, you know, next to you. And you know, we bounced off each other, and everybody. And you know, like I say, Bobby was singing better than I've ever heard him sing.
Kind of been forgotten. You thought maybe it was lost, this whole thing, but you were able to recover it, and that's great. Did it have all the proper notes and everything so that you could piece together who all played on which song and all that?
Heck no.
No, it wasn't like that at all, huh?
No, we you know, you don't think about that back. You don't think about what's going to happen back.
Yeah.
You're living in the moment, and I pretty much know who it was, and I've passed a notepad around to the guys that were there. 2 of them have passed away, so I can't talk to them.
Sure.
But it's almost obvious on some guys. You know, Doc has his style, and then of course, you know, we only had one singer and one drummer, so that took care of that. And you know, keeping track of all of that stuff was not the idea. Anything that we were writing down was going to be a song.
Sure.
And that was Bobby and me. Usually after hours. Sometimes we would, in rehearsal, we'd come up with something, but generally we would set up. And also we might have a framework of things. We'd have the chord changes, and then get a melody, and then I could take that home with me and work on things. I did that in Creedence as well. Drum parts, grooves, like that. Trying using a small cassette recorder as a note taker, and then work from there. Homework is a really good thing to have in your wheelhouse, and I would do probably 2-3 hours a night working on whatever songs we were working on, whether it be Creedence or California Gold or whatever. It's a good time to, you know, the kids are sleeping.
That's true. Well, I guess guys like me, I had to ask that because for my generation growing up, we're spoiled with reading the liner notes on records. So I always drank that up. I always wanted to read the story and look at the credits and see who played on what. And sometimes they tell you what they were playing with, you know, what drum kit they were using and what mics. And that's for the real technical side. But when it comes down to it, I just enjoyed listening to all 12 of these tracks. I even have my favorites now that I've heard it a couple times. So,
well, which ones?
I liked, Purple Mountain. That was a cool, when you're talking about these longer ones,
Yeah.
They would hand it off and do a solo here, and then guitar solo, a Hammond solo. That was a good rockin' tune there. I played that a few times in the car. I thought that was really good.
Let me give you a tip on that one.
Uh-huh.
I love it too, and it really, it lets everybody show off a little bit. But going from Purple Mountain into Darkest for the Dawn, that is tremendous. Darkest for the Dawn, of course, is a ballad, but I think it's the best song that we wrote for the project. And it may not be my favorite one as far as the playing on it. I think Purple Mountain is, but just the song as a work, lyrical work.
Yes.
And right now, it's we need all the help we can get in this world today.
Yeah, you mentioned that. So it's sort of, they kind of go hand in hand. One leads into the next song, I guess, like that.
Yeah, so. and the message, you have a, it's played, at the tempo that it's played, but it's power.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, that was another one I put a star next to because it was almost an anthem type ballad, something that you could sort of, sway. Like you see the guys at the concerts and guys and girls at the concerts swaying back and forth as you're playing it,
Yeah.
It's always darkest for the dawn. I need the strength to carry on. The painted portrait on my wall. When I had you, I had it all. Yes, sir.
That'd be great. Too bad you didn't get a chance to shop this out or, play it live in clubs and arenas. That'd be nice to hear some of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, we played a couple of gigs back in the day, but like I say, there was movement. Duck had to go, somebody else had to go, and it was time to, put the horse in the barn, so to speak. And, but the good news is that the tape made it through the long wait, and it sounds good, nice and clean, and
it doesn't sound like it suffered at all. It sounds like it just came ready-made for you.
Yeah, and like the other two albums, all I had was a quarter track, two track master.
Oh, cool.
To work with. So I had, if I needed to bring the snare drum up, I had to find the excuse me.
Bless you,
Something's in this house today that's making me sneeze. It's not a cold, but I think it might be a little fall.
Yeah, I understand that too. Yeah, you're in the area for that too. All the trees and all that.
Yeah, they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. Yeah, what you were saying about just the 2-track masters that you had.
If I wanted to bring the snare drum up in volume, I had to take the exact frequency that it was at and raise that frequency a little bit. The downside to that is that, okay, it works for the snare drum, but there are other things in that record that are the same frequency, and I have to take stock of that.
Yeah,
and that's where being a producer when you only have a 2-track master, it took some doing, and I give credit to Russell DeShiel, who used all the Pro Tools and all those things. I knew what I wanted on things, but I'm not a technical guy. So I said, hey, Russell, I think, that snare drum needs to come up, or maybe some compression on the vocal in the first verse. And he did all those things that I wanted him to do. And then some that he said, hey, why don't we try this? And I go, oh, yeah, I like that. That works. So, but it's a very limited work with only having 2 tracks.
Yeah, it can be frustrating, but naturally you got somebody like Russell who had, I don't have his knowledge or his bag of tricks, but I would get frustrated doing that, trying to get that, trying to raise the treble a little bit, or, get the frequency, just maybe lower it here, and everything else comes up with it, and you're trying to separate it, and it's a difficult thing, but sounds like he knew what he was doing, and he could take care of the job.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mixed those two tracks from the multi-track. I mean, that was what I was trying to do back then.
Way back then, yeah.
Trying to master it, and then not master it. Wait until I know it's gonna stick around and not get vaulted. But so I did mix the initial mixes with multi-track, which was a lot easier than taking it from the next level to the level that it is right now.
I appreciate the little bit of notes you gave on Purple Mountain and It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn, because those were standouts for me. And I always felt that the way you lined up the tracks, it starts off, Good Times is a good opener for the thing, and then Get Down Fever goes a little soulful, and it sounds like these things were just tailor-made for Bobby's voice. He can just take it and just scream it out.
Well, you're exactly right, and when you're the writers, and one of them is the singer, we took stock in making sure that there was grit and spit in those songs.
It really does, yeah.
And then the rest was up to us to play them that way and get the most out of them, and tailor-made for Bobby Whitlock.
Too many people now not caring anymore. Everybody's making up 'cause they think they're bored. You don't need no reason you did before. Why don't the good times count anymore? I know it's really taking longer than I planned. Life's unpredictable, so try to understand. I've always given you my love, and things ain't been that bad. Why don't the good times count like the ones we had, girl? Darling, you and I had nothing when we started. Love, think of all we missed. We had parted. Our love is stronger than the fools that let it go. There's no way we can tell them all the things we know. They'd find out for themselves if they would learn to go. And let the good times count. Love us you and I had nothing when we started. Think of all we missed. We had parted. Just let the good times last forevermore. Let the good times last forevermore.
Yeah, that's true. But did you get in a room like the two of you together, maybe to sort of to collaborate and go like, I'll play the drums, you play the keyboards, we'll find a good balance, and then we'll write the song around that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, like I say, sometimes you have pieces of a song, and then generally it's in the area of lyric, and so I would take it home and like I say, wait until the kids were in bed and go into the living room. There was a piano in there, and if I needed it, I had it, and Most of the time I didn't. We had the ideas down on guitar or on Hammond.
Yeah.
And so that's how we did it. And like I said, I did the same thing with Steve Wright. We would rent a room, a rehearsal space. He'd bring a guitar, I'd bring my kit, and we'd do the same modus operandi.
Yeah.
And other people that I wrote on Magic Window, I wrote with several guys. One guy, Robbie Polanski, I wrote 4 songs with him, and he's a local guy. He always had little guitar hit licks, and, bring it home to Papa. And then others I wrote with, and Louis Ortega from Sir Douglas Quintet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's a terrific guy, and we've written some songs, and it's there's nothing like it. You got to go in with a blank pad and boombox. Really, you want it very raw and very basic. When I do anyway, when you're writing. And like I say, just me and the other guy, and that's how you get things done,
Yeah. So back then it would have been some kind of tape recorder that you had for you and Bobby, I suppose.
Sony.
Yeah, real simple, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Very cool.
My note taker.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, that's how we all did it back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
right.
people will do that. They'll literally take their smartphone and push record and do that. Either take notes or they. Some of them actually recorded tracks on one of those things and then transferred it to some digital or tape or something like that. So
whatever works.
Whatever's going to work, right? When Bobby and you got in a room, was it sort of equal parts? Like maybe you had some licks that you want to do on the drums, or he might start with. Let's say he starts with the keyboard. He'll give the tempo, and you just sort of like fall in line. You know exactly what he's going to do. Let me try this with your keyboard licks.
Well, we discuss it. Certainly tempos, because that can make or break a song.
Yeah.
You could have a great lyrical thing happening, and it just doesn't make sense with the tempo that is introduced. And if that's the case, I said, let's try it up, or let's try it down a little bit. We were very, very good about knowing what was right when somebody else, or on a rare occasion, Bobby would have come in with a line for a song and hand that out over. And I go, oh man, this is pretty good. Let's see what we can come up with here.
And he could say, "Hey, slow that down. We needed to be a little bit sexier or more powerful or something like that. Let's keep it even, and instead of
Rockin' Me Baby."
Yeah, Rockin' Me Baby. Yeah, you had a story about that, right? You and Steve Miller.
He asked me. He played it for me. I said, "This is going to be my next single." And when I get my new record deal, but this is going to be it. And he played it, and just him and his acoustic. And when he was done, he says, "What do you think?" I says, "I think you got to think about what baby you're rocking in that cradle. You're not rocking a baby that eats pablum. You're talking about your love child, your sexual partner."
Yeah.
And he said, you're playing it too fast. It's got to open up a little bit, have a little bit more room. Bring the nasty in. And the first time it was ever played in public was at Nebworth Fair, the gig that I went and played with Steve when he was shopping a new deal. I didn't tell the record company that I wasn't a permanent member of the band, but I was in the Steve Miller band that gig.
Oh, really? So you were playing that with him?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was the first time it was ever played in public.
That's cool. This way before it got recorded, right?
And I knew the tempo.
You knew the tempo. Yeah, so it was a little faster, right? So yeah, you need to slow it down so you can put your hips. Who played the original drums on that recording? Do you remember who was the guy on Steve Miller's band?
Rockin' Me Baby. I think it was Greg Douglas.
He did some good drum work on that particular track. So
Gary Malabar.
Oh, really? I thought it was Douglas. Okay, yeah, you would know.
Greg Douglas was the guitarist.
Okay.
I thought you were asking who was the guitarist.
I was asking who the drum guy was, but you're right. Yeah. Now I just put my foot in my mouth, but the point is still the same. I thought, yeah, it can make or break it. You slow it down or speed it up, but it's got to fit the mood that you're trying to get across.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks. that threw me for a loop, but I had no idea that you were the original guy that brought that to a small audience at the time. Before it became a big deal. Yeah.
It was fun.
So he wasn't with Capitol Records back then. So he was still working on that.
He was his contract had run out, and so did the one in Europe. It was all Capitol, and then what's their foreign? Think of it. But anyway, but we were wined and dined and taken care of, and
good. Why not? If it's there, take it.
Played for 150,000 people, and he got his deal, and he was happy, and I got him to throw my wife's ticket in as well. So I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. And when he told me what it was, how much money, not that much, but the big gig, we were second on the bill for shit. It'll come to me. But and then a suite for 2 weeks while we were there, and on and on and on.
Wow.
And then when you got everything put on the table, I says, I can pass that one up easily. He says, what's wrong with it? I said, it doesn't have my wife's ticket on it. I said, no problem. Here you go.
What a great guy, man. Yeah, he's
one of my best buds.
Pre-fame, he did a lot of things already,
Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks for, by the way, back to this California Gold.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agreed with it, but another one I was enjoying was I'm Just Happy Being Alive. I thought, or I'm Happy Just Being Alive. Sorry about that. That's like maybe 2.5 minutes, but that sounds just like a great classic tune that you just sort of could have been a single somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about it. Another one that could be a single that we've talked about is On Hold Again.
Oh yeah.
And think about it. I'm thinking about it in terms of product endorsement. Now in the digital age, when something goes wrong, you don't go to a manual. You call these people up, and you're immediately put on hold.
Yes, that's true. On hold again.
Gonna lay this burden down right up by the side of the road, 'cause I just had a real good talk with myself, and the blues ain't around me no more. Wondering days are over, I found some peace and stopped running around. You can never feel my country's shack, and there's nothing that's bringing me down. 'Cause I'm happy understand the mistakes I've made, and forgetting what was right from wrong. But I'm more remember the dues I paid, and crying in a part of my song. And I'm happy, yeah, and I feel so fine. I'm so happy, yeah, happy just being alive. I'm happy just being alive. Happy just being alive.
It builds up. It builds from, even though it's like a first, like Good Times starts out fast, it just seems like it sort of builds like a steam engine. It just gets hotter and hotter as it goes along, and then it cools off a little bit with It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn, and then Do or Die, some other great ones. I like that you threw a couple ones that you call bonus tracks at the end.
Bonus tracks now.
Yeah.
We've cut it to 10 songs on the record, and we have two songs that we're going to use for a promo.
Oh,
we
that's
haven't
great.
figured out exactly what the promo is. I have a few ideas because that's what I do when I'm not being being the musician. I'm doing promo.
Yeah.
Talking to you, we're talking about music and
Thank you.
and all of that. But it's airplay is my warning. We need airplay. So,
Yeah, that's still the rule, isn't it? You got to do it.
yeah, because what are you talking about? You're talking about music, and if you don't listen to it, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, and if you don't talk about it, it gets forgotten. Otherwise you gotta get the music inside them so they can enjoy it later, and then you won't have to talk about it as much. It's already the deal's already been done. You can do it.
Right.
The I'd Rather Keep You as a Friend and I'm Back Again. Those are the two tracks. I like them. So those are we might see down the line somewhere. It could be.
Yeah.
But it happened long ago, before we picked separate roads. I never knew that in the end I'd rather keep you as a friend. All I wanna do is play and the devil may care. I'm gonna take my shot at fortune and fame, and I'm back again, rocking from shore to shore. Back again, turning up to give you more. Back again.
We'll have to see what you decide you want to do with that.
Well, I have a few ideas, but I won't bore you with that.
That's okay. Yeah. So essentially, it's a 10-track album. But
Now it is.
It is. Yeah. Okay. So if you get this, those are the 10 you're going to have, and then the bonus tracks won't be there unless unless something else you get them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. We're leaving that wide open right now. It isn't. It's going to be used as a promotion item, and it's really very early. We're just getting it out on the street right now. So I'm going to be doing some things with Sirius Radio.
Okay.
And we might plug something in with them. They're really good to me. They give me the last go around. I had an hour show. It was my favorite 45s, and I got to pick those and have something to say about each one of them, and then they cut that thing up and put it on 2 other times. I got played on Thanksgiving evening.
Oh, that's a good time to do it too. Yeah.
It is. You're turkeyed out. You want some music. settle that bird down.
You're all wiped out. Put on the radio and they, hey, listen, hey, I remember him. Yeah, that's the dude that played the drums and had the big old beard and long hair. And
those days were the good old days.
Was there ever a time that you didn't have that beard? I know the hair's not as long as it used to be back then, but you always seem to have that beard.
Yeah, the beard is that's like part of my face. So
yeah, you kept it that way.
I've had it for 50 years.
Oh, so your lovely bride, she married you with the beard. Then,
She married me with a beard.
Yeah,
She met me in high school, so no beards there. I don't know if I could even grow one.
How long you been married? Was it
54.
54.
And,
See, that's the way you do it. I don't know what the secret is. Either you just do what she tells you to do, or
That's correct.
you don't argue too much.
No.
I appreciate that you've hung in there talking. I know it's not easy. You know, as you were telling me, your health is waning. Your words, and I appreciate you must be driven to get the word out on some of your old stuff, because who else is going to tell it better than you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's particularly if it's about me. So.
Yeah, your favorite subject, right?
Some of them you want to forget, and some of them you don't.
True.
If it wasn't for envy, I might be number 2. If it wasn't for daybreak, girl, I might give in to you. But I'm rolling on, rolling on, rolling on. In the beginning, thought it never end, but it seems after winning, girl, I'm on the road again, and I'm rolling on, rolling When you're on top of the ladder, you ain't afraid to fall, no. But when you're down on the bottom, babe, it doesn't matter at all, 'cause you're rolling on, rolling on, rolling on, and singing songs, singing your
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, for those who, I think we told this at the beginning of the interview, but Doug's been dealing with Parkinson's for some time now. That's what my dad had. He had some more complications, I think it was just the constant medication. I don't know. Are you taking something like levodopa or carbidopa or anything like that?
Levodopa, carbidopa.
Yeah, so that usually works, but I think they were throwing in extra things. You know, he was a fireman for a long time. I know you had you have a background in fire service right out there in that area.
Oh yeah, it was pretty smoky here.
Yeah, so we think that some of the other stuff happened because of chemical exposure. You know, he developed dementia as well, and like a Lewy body dementia that went with the Parkinson's, and so it complicated things. But all the symptoms that you're going through, he did that too. You know, he had a little bit of balance problem, and unfortunately, you got to keep with those medications that you're on.
I don't like them.
I know. I know. He hated them as well, but
they make me dizzy, and I think maybe part of my balance problem is the goddamn medication.
Do you have to go out to do things? Do you kind of stay in the confines of your little world there?
I stay in the confines for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
I've got my studio, which we're sitting in right now, and I've got my weight machines, and also dumbbells, lightweights, very lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
I've cut my walks right now. I couldn't get it halfway around the old walk, but I'm trying to feed it in slowly, so I don't hurt myself.
Yeah. Well, the weights is probably a good. That's usually a safe bet that you can do that and stop anytime, and you won't fall over. Hopefully,
Right.
I hope this is not inappropriate talking to you all about this, but I'm concerned for you, and I appreciate that you keep on keeping on, so to speak.
Well, and I think I said this to you before. I'm a dreamer, and I believe in dreams because they've come true, but they don't just fall in your lap. Maybe the guy wins the lottery or something like that. That's a different story. But this is my life stream to be a musician, a creator, a drummer, and I've been able to do it. But you have to work it. You have to put in the time. You have to be passionate. It's not going to just lavish you with suds and diamonds.
I agree.
You got to get out and make it happen. And if you make a commitment to it, you got to stick with it. And that's why I believe I have a good product here. And anything that I do, I always put my best foot forward, and hopefully, you hit on at least one of them. I've hit on a couple of them. The Revisited project, second career, 25 years.
Yeah,
we were hoping to get 3 or 4 years out of it, and here, after 24 years, we said, we've done all we can do here. It's time for a move. So we decided a year before we shut the door down on that project, and we wanted to tell our guys. So we told them, because we didn't want to leave them, all of a sudden without work and not have a chance to find something else. So we told them and just told them, just keep it to yourself. And the pandemic came, like 2 months after we had retired, and everybody thought that we knew something was amiss and something was coming. We've had a few things that might make you think that, but this sure ain't one of them. We had planned to retire a year ago, and now I'm the owner of a record company with some pretty good music to be heard.
Oh, cool! Very cool. That's good. So you have some artists that maybe we will hear about in the future. Then we didn't.
Well, that's certainly. That's a definite possibility. But I've got to get a winner. Hopefully, this one will do it. I want to have records. If I'm going to attract an artist, I'd say, well, I have my own label. Here's what I just did with it, and you'll have say. I'll listen to you because I'm one of you. I'm not a. This is the only label I won't have to audit.
Yeah, let's hope not. Yeah, that's good. First one to come to mind is like Herb Alpert was one of those guys. Musicians respect other musicians who have been there and have gone through that same process with you before you, and can understand the ups and downs and what needs to be done. So yeah.
Herb and Jerry.
Oh yeah.
Jerry Moss,
yes. Oh, I love that whole story of the two of them. That they seem to make that work.
Oh boy, did they ever!
Well, thanks, Doug. This has been, not only is your album California Gold, but so are some of these nuggets of wisdom that you just pulled out of your head. I thought that was really great what you just said about dreams, because just the nuts and bolts of hearing how you and Bobby record or collaborate. Other people who are just like, not as famous can look and they go, wow, these guys did the same stuff that we do. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of a universal truth out of songwriting. It's not an exact science, but it sure is fun, and it sure is magical when you can do it.
Yeah, it is like magic. From nothing to a beautiful song, a scary song, a funny song, whatever you want it to be. It's pretty cool.
World, and I feel fine and I'm rolling on. But it gets so hard to take it sometimes, girl. 'Cause every time I call, I'm put on hold. And I wanna give you all my love and get real close to you. And all you did was give me words of blues, and I'm on hold again, and I'm waiting on you. Hold again, darling is the best I can do.
Thanks. I hope that the music is still part of your life. I don't know if you can play anymore. I mean, because that muscle memory's got to be there. When you're tool around on the drums a little bit, just tap on them, or I don't know if you can still play like a decent amount of time, or what.
I could get a bar gig, no doubt about it.
You could.
I play every day because it's really good exercise.
Yes, I figured that you must have it still in you.
I'm using all the parts, and they're doing different things, and it's good. I like to jam with CDs. People say, "What do you listen to?" I say, "Whatever I'm going to be playing with that day."
Your worst day, I'm sure, is better than some people's best. But you got to keep at it. You've been practicing for who knows how long? Ever since you were a little kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Probably 70 years.
That's quite a bit. How old are you today? Now, as we talk to you,
I'm 77.
When was your birthday? We just passed it, right? Wasn't it soon?
April 24th.
Oh, April. Okay, I thought it was August. I started with an A.
That's
you
good.
got a better memory than I do, sir.
Well, I better not forget my birthday, for God's sake.
That or her birthday. You always want to remember that. That's probably the more important of the two.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for letting me screw around a little bit. But all this other stuff is great. I want everybody to check this out. California Gold. It's already out. Features Bobby Whitlock on that incredible voice that he has. And I wonder if he can still sing that way now. He still does it, right?
Not very much. Not very often.
Okay. Well, maybe up until 10 years ago, he was still doing some things, or?
I had no contact with him until I found this tape.
Yeah. So, he certainly got to show off back then, though. I know that.
What's that?
He certainly got to show off back then. I had no idea he sang like that because I just figured he was, a mean keyboard player for Derek and the Dominos and some of these other groups that he was playing with. But
yeah, he can.
I never paid attention to how great he was. So this gets.
I had him primed up. I don't know if he went back to smoking cigarettes again, but it made a big difference. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I know. I remember Ginger Baker had in the late '80s. He tried to get another band with a singer, and he was like this. The singer was a young guy who smoked a lot. And he always said, "Oh yeah, it smooths over my voice." They always have a way to make
smooth it
over. Yeah, I just remember. I don't know why that stuck out, but I remember it was Ginger Baker's latest band he was working on at the time. You always have to. When you're a drummer, you got to get a good singer up there in front. And he was good, but he says, "I noticed you smoke. You always have a cigarette in your hand when you're talking to us." And so. I hope Bobby got off the cigarettes after a while, because there's too much heartache in that. You lose too many people to lung cancer and all that other things.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to get off of that, but thanks again. This has been great. I'll tell everybody where you can go get it. Probably just go to your Doug Cosmo Clifford website. We'll probably have the details on that, too.
Yeah, DougCosmoClifford.com. You can get it there, and you can get it really any place you can download music. But if you have your favorite place where you like to do that, give it a try. If it doesn't work, try mine.
You don't go into your record store anymore. Now you go get it on Amazon or Spotify.
Yeah.
There's always ways of getting it out there, and I don't know what's best, but all I know is that it's worth the listen. It's worth your time to own it, and you'll enjoy it. And keep an ear out for those bonus tracks. They're really good. I got to hear them, and I won't spoil the surprise, but they're pretty cool tracks. So,
thank you.
Glad I got a chance to talk with you about that, and thanks again. And maybe I can cut one more thing just before I let you go. I had to ask you, what was the thing with the Cosmo's Factory? Why did they call it infamous? Was there something going on with that? I saw a little thing in there. It says the infamous Cosmo's Factory, not the album, but I mean your studio.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had a little gardener shack in the back of a rental home before we had a hit, and it was maybe 12 feet by 6 feet. It was just really small and cramped. And the other guys in the band there, again, the foul cigarette, the evil cigarettes, they all smoked, and I didn't. And we had rugs on the windows and everything to keep the sound in, so the neighbors wouldn't call the cops. And I was playing in there, and this damn smoke, and I threw my sticks down, and I said, "You guys are killing me with your cigarettes." And I walked outside the took a couple of deep breaths, and Tom Fogarty came out and said, "It's better than working in a factory somewhere." So okay, we'll see about that. So the next day when they came out to rehearse, my wife's a painter, and so I took a couple of different colors and I wrote the factory on this little 1x4, and it was about 18 inches long, the factory. So I tacked it on the door, and they all got a laugh out of it. So, but when we finally got a hit and needed an office and a place to rehearse, it was an old factory and all wooden building, and you could drive a truck in there, and we had a one bucket basketball court. We had some other things, and of course our rehearsal space for it. So when we got that factory, it made a lot of sense. It became Cosmo's factory. Wow. Because I had the original idea of a factory.
That's good. Yeah. When you drive the truck in it, you better turn that exhaust off, because you don't want that going on as well.
That's worse than the cigarettes.
Sometimes it could be. And this California Gold, some of that was recorded right there in Cosmo's factory, right? In 78?
Yeah.
That's great. Elsewhere too, but
yeah.
There's some
but
great...
That's where most of it was rehearsed. That's where it took shape, is right there.
Okay.
It's burned down, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but
no,
now it's just in your memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got people that took pictures inside that place, so you still have some memories, visual memories of the place?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of them, and it was a place where we there were had a foosball table too, and there were furious competitions on the foosball table. Yeah. Stu and I were kind of the guys to beat as a team, and so we kept guys on their toes. We drank a lot of coffee. I remember that. Maybe not the best coffee in the world, but it was brown and it went down.
Well, for the most part, you were clean, meaning you didn't smoke or drink and all that. I mean, or do drugs or anything like that. Especially with CCR, you sort of had a pact not to do that while you were recording.
We had a pact, and we lived by it.
Yeah, that's great. You did that. So, what you did on the off time is your own business. But as long as you were, you did like, was it 7 albums in 5 years, something like that? You did quite a.
Not even 5 years. It was 4 years.
Good grief! Yeah. That's a wild time. Yeah. So
if we were doing things, we wouldn't have been able to keep that pace.
Yeah. Because
we also toured behind all these albums.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for going the extra mile there. I sort of snuck in the CCR stuff. I try not to dwell too much in the past because there's so much other great things that you have to say. So, just for the audience, they like to hear a little bit of, hey, why aren't they talking about the old days? So, well, read a book, I guess, on the subject. And go listen to their albums. I think they had a couple of them. So
there's a new book out right now. I'm trying to think of it now. A Song for Everyone, it's called, I believe. And it's a good book. It's probably the best one written about Creedence.
Was it? They focused solely on you, or was it other bands as well? Is it just you guys?
It was just us.
Oh, okay. The 4 warriors going out there against.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little concerned for you. I don't think of me condescending when I say this, but I truly care about you. I think that it's kind of personally for what you're going through. So, not just my father, but I know a couple other people, Parkinson's, and that sort of hits me in the heart a little bit. So I want to make sure that you keep in shape the best you can. So,
well, I'm doing it, and the way I look at it is that on the good and the bad pages in my life, I have been blessed 20 times to 1, and this is you've got to have something wrong with sometimes. Yeah. So this is my sometime, and it's I'm doing everything I know how to do, and but it's what's important is that I continue doing work that I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't feel bad about it. I feel that I've been very lucky in my life in love and career, and this is just one of those things that happens in life. So I'm not the only one.
Well, thank you, Doug. I'm always envious of drummers because I can't do what you do. I play other instruments. Drums are hard to master, but some people it comes by naturally. So I think you're one of those people. You seem to be able to play in any style, but you certainly have a style that you can recognize. Especially if you go back to those old days that you were talking about earlier. So it's evident on this album. You can tell it's Doug playing those drums for sure. You can't fake that.
No. Somebody said something to me about that. You're one of those guys that the first couple notes you play, I know that it's you. I said, you following me around.
Okay. Well, Doug, all the blessings on you. Next time you uncover another special thing out of that vault in the garage, tell me about it. I'd love to hear some more, because so far this is you're 3 for 3 on these great treasures that you dug up. So.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it is a fun place to hang out.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Doug Cosmo Clifford. We call him Cosmo because, he told us that story. It had something to do with Clifford C. Clifford or something like that, right?
Clifford C. Clifford in college, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Cosmo, I call you Doug, but Cosmo, everybody remembers him from the old days, so it's Doug Clifford. I got to clap for you. Fantastic guy. All right. My best to your wife. Thank you so much, and have a great day out there. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Gene.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Peace.
Peace. Thanks for listening to Songwriter on the Radio. For more information on California Gold, that's the new project from Doug Clifford and Bobby Whitlock, who joined forces with a host of incredible players to create a gem that is finally being released September 9th, 2022. Please visit Doug's website, dougcosmoclifford.com, for more information. So until next time, this is Dean Olson, the Songwriter on the Radio, signing off for now and saying to you all, let's all put our best pens forward, just like Doug Clifford, and be strong writers together. Now, go forth, have a wonderful weekend. God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye now. You've been listening to Songwriter on the Radio, as heard on the Dean Olson radio program and heard all across America on Power Me Up Radio, powered by Raven International.